RF is the consultant for this project, for both phases 1 and 2. And we are a British company headquartered in London. We are an independent company providing independent supervision, enabling completion of the project on time, on budget, and to the required quality. This slide shows our team, which I won't go into in detail, but in the centre of it is our team leader, Tom Fernando, who's been in Moldova for over 2 years now. And I will just give the floor to Tom. Tom, you'll have to come up and speak to the microphone. We will just very briefly summarise some more details of the project.
This project started back in 2007 when an expert from Britain came and spent a whole year trying to see that it's feasible to implement this network, and then also designing this network. And after that began this first phase which we spoke about, which was a turnkey project. It is end-to-end, as we have already for the water guard services. And this particular phase 1 project was a 10 million project. It took 24 months to implement, and it just finished in March 2012. And as we have heard, excellent work for other contractor. The phase 2 project is very similar to the phase 1 project. It is also a turnkey project. That means everything from end to end on the network is handed over by the contractor to the water guard service, so that the water guards have only to turn the key or just switch it on, and they can use all these features. The budget for the phase 2 is in the region between 12 and 13 million euros. It's again a 24-month project, which began in March, this March, and after that there will be a 12-month warranty period as well. And the contractor this time is Ericsson alone, as compared to the previous project where Ericsson and Motorola were a consortium together. And if there are any future phases to complete the whole design of the network, there may be other phases like phases 3 or beyond. The objectives of these projects we have gone through already, and just summarizing here again. The EU has the objective to enhance cross-border trade, cooperation, information exchange, etc. For Moldova, it is a question of having a better border control service. For the border guards, this results in improved internal communications as well as external communications, so that they can perform their functions. And all this is done by a very important set of things which we call network and communication services, which have been described already to some extent by George Stoke on my left here. The border control objectives are to control the border, first of all, that is, to allow people who are legal and goods that are legal to cross the border, and on the other hand, to stop any illegal traffic. And this is the main objective, high-level objective of this project in producing communications and border control. And then this type of activity requires close liaison with other parties, such as the customs service, with other internal security services, with the local councils, etc. And this internal communications as well as external communications, therefore, which is being produced by this project, are the main objectives of this project. And all this in the context of high security, because these are border control services. Basically, I'm going back again on what I said, a bit more details so that maybe all of us can understand what is happening here. Basically, it is what we call a telecommunications network here. And telecommunications networks are normally made up of nodes or locations joined together either by cables or by wireless means or radio. Now in this network we have mainly a radio network joining all these points together. In other words, we don't depend on a cable going underground or overground from one place to another. So it is much easier to implement in one sense. And then above that we have a very important system for which Motorola is responsible, called the Tetra system, which is one of the most modern systems, which originated in Europe. It is now in Motorola's hands, who are a global company like Ericsson. This particular system is being used by several countries in Western Europe already for control services of the police, ambulance, and so on, with the largest network with about 55,000 users in the UK. So we are very happy to be able to start it in Moldova here as well. The services that communication services are on top of it, I'm not going through because already we have spoken about them. The Tetra services are very interesting because this is a new thing. People have always had private mobile radio systems and are used to some of these services, but Tetra is a much more powerful service because it's not only voice calls or telephone calls that you can make, you can also make data calls between two handsets, or from a central location to a handset. And from a central location, you can, in this particular system, also identify where people with these handsets or where with the fixed stations inside vehicles are really geographically. So it's a very powerful system to help the border guards have their control services. Just a very short word on why these projects have been so expensive. It involves a lot of work on the part of the contractor. It's a very long process. It starts with physical surveys, which are quite difficult to make because you have to get the ground when it's available, what the nature of the ground is, what rooms you are getting from the client, from the border guards, as to that needs refurbishment, and that takes a couple of months to do. And then the whole work of design, that is adapting the equipment of the contractor to be able to do this function in that particular country, in that environment. And that is called design, which takes again several months to do. And then come the civil works, which is like any other infrastructure project, requiring concreting and foundations and tearing up and so on, and building towers, and a number of towers like that. And then finally you have the equipment installation, which is the ICT equipment, which is almost a small part of this project in a sense, even though it's the most expensive part. And that is the real heart of this project, which then gives all the communication services that can be used. And then at the end, a project like this has a lot of testing as well, because this is done for the first time on the site, and you have to be sure that all these services are available. And finally, but not the last but not the least item, is documents. We have cupboards of documents that come out of a project like this, because you start from civil works and come down to installation and testing. Each of them produces documents. And all this has to be done throughout the project, and that's why it takes about 2 years at least to do a project of this kind. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Mulțumesc pentru această prezentare. Aș vrea să anunț o pauză din partea de 10 minute. După aceasta o să mergem să vizităm inima acestui sistem, și anume camera operativă.